What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. So if this is your first time watching, my name is Sheridan. Before we get started, make sure you take the time to subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications so you never miss any of my brand new videos. So for today's video, I wanted to kind of sit down and talk with you guys about just something that's honestly been at the forefront of my mind lately. It's something that, as you can tell from the title, something that I have been developing over this past year within 2018. And additionally, it's something I've had to put conscious effort forward into for the last few weeks just due to some personal life events. So if you would like to chat with me about productivity, about rituals, about success, about identifying goals and understanding yourself and basically keeping yourself on track, for lack of better words, getting your shit together, then stay tuned. So first things first, you have to know what you want. You have to sit down and ask yourself. And some of us may already know what we want and some of us may not, and that's okay. But in a general sense, you need to sit down and create some long-term goals and some short-term goals for yourself. And I would consider short-term anything within, 6 months to a year. And a year could even be long-term for some people. You want to have this sense of like your bigger picture for the most part and a sense of your current, present things going on. There are lots of ways you can do this. If you don't have the best clear-cut idea, like for me, what I did this year at the beginning of 2018 was I created a vision board. So what I did with this vision board, and I will put a little clip of it in somewhere right now, is I picked a central quote. And so my central quote is, "Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will." I know I've kind of talked about this a little bit on my channel before, but I mean, this just really spoke to me. And you can see here on my vision board, I have images of really powerful, influential women who inspire me. And they're also creators and they're also influencers, which is what, I'm aspiring to be. And so I also put images of fitness. I also put images of strong, healthy relationships because that's something that I want. I want a healthy, loving relationship. I'm honest with myself and I'm not gonna lie to myself and say I'm happy without that in my life. We need human interaction and we need human relationships. So put images of good friendships. So girl power and just supporting one another. Images of traveling in different cities, and you can also see something there can be things very specific, like I put a picture of my YouTube and I photoshopped in 1,000 subscribers because that's one of my goals for 2018 is to make 1,000 subscribers. You can see on my vision board that I picked pieces of little things that I knew I wanted for myself within this year, and some very specific, some a little bit more broad, but regardless, that's kind of the energy that I am channeling for myself. Once you've identified some things that you want, whether it's career-wise, fitness-wise, self, others, any types of goals and kind of direction that you can give yourself, this is going to be helpful. It has to be something specific at some point. Just saying, oh, I want to be fit, or oh, I want to travel, or any of these things, find specific actual reasons. Biggest motivations for fitness is seeing my mother and then my grandmother, they live in the same home, and kind of seeing the different levels in ability. My mom has worked so hard to stay active and fit, and my grandma comes from a generation that doesn't focus on that so much. One of my biggest motivations is being able to be healthy and walk around at the age of 80 without using a walker. That's one of my biggest, inspirations for this lifelong journey of fitness that I have embarked upon. I would say start by identifying what you want. And I honestly can say this is probably, creating this vision board was one of the first steps that I took in the rituals and kind of processes that I'm gonna talk about in this video. So I found it really helpful. And if you don't feel like finding pictures of things or people and cutting them out and gluing them on a board, just start by writing it down. Just write it down, make a list. And it is helpful to find a really good quote, to kind of keep you centered and remind yourself as well. Keep the list out. You want these things to be visible. When I wake up, my vision board is right across from my bed, so it's the first thing I look at when I wake up, and I read the quote and I remind myself as I'm waking up. The next thing that I found really important in achieving those things that I want and that I desire so badly for myself is actually working towards them. You know, you can identify all these things you want, you can glue them on this board, and you know, you can stare at it, but is that going to get you where you want to go? No, not at all. So it's important to identify now the things that you can do and that you have the physical ability to do, to start enacting actions that are actually going to move you forward towards what you want. And of course, we all know that saying, like, Rome wasn't built in a day. I think that's the saying anyway. Important that we realize this is going to be a journey, you know? You have to understand, if you want to build a better booty in the gym and you want to be poppin', it's going to take consistency. It's gonna take every single day doing a little bit every single day to get yourself where you want to go. And this is where rituals come in. I don't know why I did this, but hey. Rituals, this word ritual. I feel like we all kind of know what it means, but in case you don't, it's just something repetitive that you do consistently. It may be, you know, the same time every day. It may be the same time once a week. It's just something that is consistent that you keep up in your life. I want to give you guys a little backstory before we kind of get into these rituals and things like that. Until this year, I truly was the biggest procrastinator you would ever meet. I would put things off. I would not do assignments on time. I would be turning assignments in at 11:58 when they were due at 11:59 p.m. I would bullshit my way through school. I would never really engage. I wouldn't do laundry. I wouldn't do dishes. I wouldn't clean my room. I wouldn't ever make my bed. Was living in this chaos that I was creating for myself by not caring and not being engaged. And frankly, I wasn't living. I wasn't present. I wasn't mindful in any sort of way. I was really perusing through my life in a really unhealthy way. I was that person where I would go to bed thinking, okay, Sheridan, you're gonna wake up tomorrow and you're gonna be the new you. No more of this. You're gonna wake up, you're gonna clean your room, you're gonna get your shit together, and you're gonna live. Finally, finally. And you know, sometimes there would be days where I would do those things. I would wake up and I would actually clean and I would get things together, but then what would I do? I would fall right back into my old habits, and you know, they would be clean for a few days, maybe a week, and then after that, shortly, you know, I'd fall back into this routine. And rather than recognizing this and doing something about it, I would recognize it and I would just get overwhelmed and I would shut myself down. And, you know, I would lay there and watch Netflix, or I would take a stress nap because I was so stressed out. And some of this is in correlation with mental health. I know I've kind of talked about this a little bit on some previous videos. A lot of this was just general understanding of this idea of motivation. I'll link below a bunch of resources and things that I mentioned. So if I mention a video or a podcast or a book or, you know, an Instagram page, anything like that, if I mention it, I am going to link it below for you. There's an incredible woman who, I want to say her name is Mel Gibson, but I can't be sure right now. It's on the top of my head, but like I said, I'll link it below. She has explained so many times, and she has this theory that motivation is BS. It's not real. You know, she says you're never gonna wake up feeling like doing the things you don't want to do or you don't enjoy doing. You're never gonna, I personally, I hate laundry. I'm never gonna wake up and think, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to do laundry today. I can't wait to fold on my clothes and put them away. You know, it's never gonna happen. We have to realize, like, there are some things you just have to do. So I just wanted to know and explain to you guys before I kind of get into the rest of this that there was a really long period, I mean, all of my college years up until my senior year, I was not engaged, I was not consistent, I was not treating myself the way I deserved to be treated, and I was not putting myself in a position to be successful or productive in any sort of way. Get into rituals. So rituals. I have daily rituals, I have weekly rituals. So I'm not really sure where I got this idea from, honestly. I think I just kind of sat down and started doing it, and then it kind of worked the first day, and then I did it the second day, and then I did it the third day, and it just kept working and working, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna stick with this. So I'm the type of person where to-do lists never really worked for me before, but I actually realized I wasn't even giving them a chance. I wasn't setting them up in the correct way. So I was in Meyer and I found this adorable little notebook. It says, "Excuse me while I build an empire." And if this isn't me, I don't know what is. I saw this and I got so excited. I had no idea what I was like, oh, this is kind of dumb. Like, it was one of those like impulsive buys where I thought, oh, I'm not really gonna use it, but I like the way it looks. And little did I know that this little notebook was going to honestly change my life. What I like to do is I'll sit down the night before, and I'll sit down the night before the next day. So at night, after I've done my skincare routine, after I've taken care of everything I need to take care of, this is the last thing I do before I get in bed. Write down the date of tomorrow. I will write down the day. So last night I wrote 11/4, Sunday. And I will write out to do on the top. Sometimes if I have serious focus and I'm really struggling and I need just a reminder throughout the day, I'm gonna start at the top and I'll write, remember to breathe, or be grateful, or something like of that nature. And then I'll immediately go in and I'll put down bullet points of things that I know I have to do. And it could be something mundane and that you're obviously committed to, like I'm a college student. So I'll write down, you know, class 10:20 to 12:40 or something like that. Or, you know, I'm a dog mom, so I'll write down take Kalani on his walk or to the dog park. Those are some things that I'll write down. You know, if I have to go to Meyer, I'll write down Meyer run, need to schedule an appointment. Literally anything that I know that I have to do, I'll write down on this list. And then I scan my brain and I try to think if there's anything else that I can possibly need to get done, whether it's checking emails, sending a specific email, literally any daily task that you could think of, or if it's an appointment I have, you know, and then I'll take that with my paper calendar and planner. I'll kind of compare and make sure I have everything, you know, lined up and in sync, and then in my mind I freshly know everything that's on my plate for the day. I hop in bed, and in the morning when I wake up, I'll have my coffee, my breakfast, and I'll set the list. I don't even have to really look at it, but I'll definitely have it next to me while I'm having my coffee and breakfast in the morning. That way, you know, immediately when I jump out of bed, I have what is on my daily to-do list. Usually the first thing I'll tackle is like my workout. It just, for me, I enjoy getting my workouts done first thing so I don't have to get to the end of the day and be exhausted to get to it. Then as I go throughout the day and I accomplish each of these things, I will cross them off the list. And let me tell you, the most satisfying thing is having that list in front of you at the end of the day and having it all be crossed off, and it just makes you feel so good. And I used to kind of just go about my days and not have like structure. I would have in my head what I had to get done, but I would never quite achieve it. And this has just been one of the most helpful things that I started doing as a ritual. Every single night I'll sit down, make my to-do list / list of intentions for the next day. And when I wake up, boom, like you already have your plan set, you know what you have to do to start your day off, to get through the day. So that list ritual has become very near and dear to my heart, and it's something that has really kept me on track. I've been doing this probably about a month or so now, and it's honestly been one of the best things that I've done, because it's like you know what you have to do, but you're actually taking that conscious effort to focus on it the day before and the morning of, and really set your intentions for the day. So next I kind of want to get into like daily maintenance and self-care and just things that are other rituals I do on a daily basis. So one of those things is keeping up on cleaning and laundry. You know, if I have found that it works best for myself if I make my bed every morning. If I, you know, see a mess, I'll clean it up. If I have, you know, if my laundry basket gets full, typically about every 2 to 3 days, I'll do a load of laundry. Other key things daily for me are gonna be sleep, nutrition, and hydration. I know this sounds so basic, but I promise you only have one body, you have to take care of it. And I have a multitude of different vitamins and supplements that I take for my health. Take those in the morning with a huge glass of water. And I'm also making sure I'm eating my 3 meals a day. I'll have my big breakfast, and I make time out of my day to eat lunch or pack myself a lunch, and then also dinner. Sometimes that comes in the form of meal prepping, you know, because I am not trying to spend a ton of money eating out as a college student. So sometimes, you know, Sunday or Monday, I'll make myself a meal that is able to be warmed up, and I can eat that throughout the week. And in terms of hydration, I have this huge water bottle from Bottled Joy, and I believe it's about 2 liters. I got that on Amazon, and I make it a point to drink 1 of those a day. You know, in order to function and be at your peak self, you have to physically like have the nutrients and hydration that your body literally needs. You're not making a conscious effort to give yourself those things, things, you are not setting yourself up for success. And obviously sleep, I mean, we all kind of know how much sleep our body needs. Some people are different. I know people that can run on 6 hours. I personally need my 8 at minimum, probably 7, but even then I'm still gonna be kind of groggy throughout the day. Then I have weekly rituals that I am consistently, you know, putting on my to-do list of things that I know I have to do. So one of the biggest ones is therapy. I see a therapist once a week, and this is for my mental health. I have found that this weekly ritual has been immensely helpful to me, and even if you're not struggling, you know, with considered like serious mental health issues, I really recommend finding a therapist that you have a good relationship with, because it's always nice to just have that third party that is neutral and you can talk to and feel safe, and it's a safe place for you to go. Let's be real, life is chaotic, life is messy, and not all the time, you know, as my mom loves me, but she doesn't want to hear everything every single day. And you know, she has her own life. So finding that person is really taking a step in the right direction, in my opinion. So another thing is self-care on the weekly. So I make it a point to mask, like face mask and skincare, at least once a week. Typically I'll try to do 2 to 3 times a week, but again, you know, that's up to your discretion and your skin's needs. I also make sure I take the time to use my whitening strips for my teeth once a week. And you know, these are all very specific things to me. Different things you like to do. If you like to, you know, deep condition your hair, or just sit down and take the time to take a bath or a really long shower and just kind of listen to music, whatever form that comes in for you. So I have the gym and fitness as kind of its own little category. For me personally, I'm in the process of gaining muscle and building mass. So I lift 3 days a week and I do cardio 2 days a week. And then I give myself the other 2 days a week off as rest days. No matter what your fitness goals are, it's important to at least identify, I mean, every human body needs physical activity. So even if that comes in the form of going on a walk, or if you really like volleyball, you know, find a local volleyball team or club or something. They always have different like IM sports, at least around college campuses. Or maybe taking a fitness class, you know, or a dance class, at least something. Your body, that physical activity, and it really does help with your brain and getting your blood flowing, all of that good stuff. So no matter what it is, just like everything else we've talked about, you have to be consistent with these things. For me, the gym really has been a sanctuary, and it has become a safe place. I look forward to my workouts. I love having that time to myself where I get to just listen to music and really put focus into what I'm doing. That includes just with my physical self, my physical body. It's been a really good way to release energy. No matter what your fitness goals are, even if you don't really have any, I think it's really important that you find some type of physical activity that you at least enjoy, and to stay with it consistently, because it's going to overall help your focus and your mental health and your physical ability to perform for whatever your goals in life are. As you're going through these rituals and these kinds of things that, you know, you have to do and make conscious effort towards on the daily, don't get me wrong, there's days where you're gonna wake up and you're gonna not feel like it, or you're gonna feel some type of way, or there's gonna be a conflict in your life that is causing you stress or anxiety. I can't tell you how important it is in these times to take a minute, step back, look at yourself and say, okay, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Answer yourself honestly. Then take the steps of reaching out to find human connection in other advice and speeches or videos in some type of form that is going to help you, even if it's the slightest bit, even if it's helping you in the form of making you feel not alone. So a great example of this is the other day I woke up and I was feeling very unclear. I was feeling very distraught. I was feeling very stressed. I was not feeling focused. I was just in a very off mood. I was having some strange feelings towards myself. As a woman, I think we can encounter this. We can encounter that feeling of not enough, you know, whether that's in your professional career or your personal life. As women, we often are faced with this narrative of you're not enough. So I went onto YouTube and I typed in maintaining self-focus. YouTube is personally, obviously, you guys know I love YouTube. It's one of my favorite social media platforms for so many reasons, because we can form such intense, such real human connections through this. And so I found this video. Again, I'll have it linked below. I said any sources and videos, you know, I'll have linked below. And I sat there, and while I was getting ready that morning, and I was putting my makeup on and getting ready to go to class and getting ready for my day, I listened to this speech, which it happened to be a compilation of different speeches, and I think there was like one main one that it created towards the end. But by doing so, I was finding advice, and I was finding solitude from others that were reaching out to address specifically how I was feeling. Well, yes, it's important to have those, you know, close friendships and close relationships. Sometimes other people aren't always gonna know exactly what to say for how you feel. Putting myself in that position to recognize how I was feeling, admit to myself what I needed, and gave myself the ability and the okay to actually search, you know, something pertaining to how I was feeling. I sat there and listened to this, and by the end of it, I started listening to it in the shower, and like, because it was pretty long, and then I, you know, was doing my hair and my makeup, and I was still listening to it, and by the end, I felt a solitude from another person, and I heard these good quotes and these good points and these affirmations and this reassurance, all that I needed just by using a simple tool that we, for the most part, all have access to, which is YouTube. And this can come in the form of podcasts, this can come in the form of Instagram, you know, reading. There are all these resources out there. So for this, I'm really just reminding you that it's okay to recognize when you're off, when you're having an off day, when you're not feeling yourself, when you're feeling some type of way. You need to sit down, check yourself, be real with yourself, and ask, okay, how am I feeling in this moment? And instead of just sitting there feeling some type of way, reach out to different resources that can address how you're feeling. With that being said, I just wanted to note that podcasts are an amazing tool. Instagram is an amazing tool, and all socials are amazing if you use them in the right way. A podcast that I really love is The Productive Woman. I'll have that linked below. I listen to it on Spotify, and another one I listen to is like the YouTube Creators Podcast, for obvious reasons, because that's what I do. So, you know, find podcasts that really speak to you, and I think they're actually a really great tool to give us insight and content, and you know, just listening to other people about things you're interested in and things that actually pertain to your life. Additionally, with Instagram, use it in a way to find people that really uplift you and give you the message of positivity and the message of don't quit. Find people with similar interests, and by putting those key people in your life and in your Instagram feed, that's always like little bits of inspiration. People who have similar interests and similar goals that you sat down and identified in the very beginning, things that pertain to your vision board. Find ways to incorporate what you want and what you are making like your new standard in your life into your social medias as well. I also wanted to make a point of taking the time to read, even if you're not a super big reader. It could come in the form of an ebook or an audiobook if you don't want to sit down and read, but reading in itself is so therapeutic, and it can also be very good to keep you on track and channeling your energy in those ways that are going to keep moving you forward. And if you've identified your interests, I can tell you there are at least 1,000 plus books about your interests. I'm reading quite a few different things right now. Moon Theory by Robert M. Drake. He's one of my favorite poets. I actually have his entire collection. Thank you, Mom. That was the best Christmas gift ever. Also reading The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. I think that's how you pronounce her name. This is a book I've read in the past, but I am rereading it, and this is Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. And I'm also reading Our Prisons Obsolete by the OG Angela Davis. So those are just a few things that I'm currently reading if you're interested. I think it's a great outlet, and I think it's really wonderful to keep your brain stimulated and focused and on track for, you know, things you're interested in and your goals and your wants. Lastly, for me, something that's been so important and just keeping myself well-rounded and on track and having my things together is giving myself a creative outlet. So for me, that's kind of obvious, you know, it's gonna be through makeup and fashion and creating videos for you guys. I have obviously made a point to make time for this on the weekly, but even if you don't necessarily identify as a creative individual, there are still things that you, I'm sure, enjoy doing that you just haven't given yourself the chance to do. I'll be real with you, probably 90% of the time I do not have makeup on unless I'm either filming or, you know, creating a look if I have an event to go to. But other than that, I am pretty much not in full face makeup. So I sometimes have to remind myself, like, hey, take a minute, like sit down, create an eye look, you know? Play with this new palette. And that makes me really happy. If you've made it this far through this video, thank you. I know this has been really long, but it's just something that's really been on my mind. I don't think we're necessarily taught these things or these life skills, and unless you're forming these healthy habits of rituals and being consistent with the things you are physically able to do prior to going to college or prior to entering your young adulthood, I don't think it's talked about enough, and I don't think we're set up to have these skills and this understanding of making yourself do these things. Currently in this era of self-love and self-care, and I think those terms are thrown around so much that often we forget what they actually mean and what they require, and it requires work, you know? Just like any relationship with even a significant other, you have to put in the work. So you have to be willing to put in the work for yourself, prioritize yourself, identify what you want, make it a necessity. It's one thing to say I want something, and it's another thing to say I have to have this. And once you create that mentality for yourself, give yourself enough focus, maintaining these consistent little rituals on the daily, promise your work is going to pay off, and it's going to lead you to your larger goals and your larger desires. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If anything, I hope you might check out the resources that I've linked below. These are resources that have really spoken to me, really helped me, really gave me a click or like that aha moment. Yeah, like I said, if you made it to the end of this video, kudos to you, because I'm sure it's long and I know it may seem like I've just been rambling on and on. It's so important to realize how powerful and life-changing this actual mindfulness and this actual focus of self can be. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!